Hey there! Welcome to Aphrodite, and welcome to 2020!
You're watching Aphrodite. Hey, that's my dad!
So this is hopefully going to be a really big and exciting year for Aphrodite. I get a sense that things are going to be accelerating a lot more. I've got some big plans for the podcast, and for the blog, and for the website, and for these video series. But there's also a lot of big things happening for us as a family. So for example, we have one child who's about to end preschool. He's in his last year of preschool, and we have another child about to start grade R. Proper school, like he has a sort of uniform and everything. That is crazy. Today's actually my last day of proper leave and holiday, and I can't really complain because I had a very long December leave, and I'm kind of excited to go back to work. I'm excited to see my colleagues and get going with all the cool stuff that this year has in store for my proper actual job. Which is strange because you think I'd be a bit anxious about going back to work, a bit nervous, a bit down about it. I'm not. I am anxious about my boys. And that got me thinking, oi, play, trying to make a video here. Traffic. And that got me asking the question, why? Why are we so anxious at the beginning of the year for our kids? The problem is, the more I thought about the answer, the more anxious I became. So I need to share this with you to get it off my chest, because sharing is caring and we can all be anxious and scared together, right? Yeah, so if you think about it, every year holds new challenges. What if it's too hard for them? What if they aren't going to make new friends? What if they lose the friends they have? What if they go through an awkward phase where they don't really know how to talk to people? What if they find something that academically they really struggle with? Like, what if the challenges are too much for them? And then there's all the stuff that we have to do. So like, have we prepared them for this year ahead? Have we got all of the admin done? Did we pay the school at the right time? Did we fill out the right form? Did we make sure they have the right school uniform and the right clothes that they need? Did they have all the stationery that they need? There's a lot to think about. And look, I'm very lucky because my partner is very organized and she kind of loves admin, so I kind of just help her along. But I can't imagine if you're a single parent and you have to keep all that stuff in your head while still dealing with your own life and your own job and all of the admin that comes with that. The beginning of the year is such a scary time when it comes to just admin and planning alone. And then it's very easy to get worried about all the decisions you've already made. Did we choose the right school? Should we have changed schools? Is this the right subject for them to be taking? Is this the right place that they should be in? Are they going to be with the right kind of people? Will they find the right kind of people to make friends with? Oh my word, there is too much to think about. I'm going to have some coffee. That's just coffee, but I kind of wish there was something stronger. My neighbor's alarm has been going off every day, like 3 or 4 times a day. They need to get that sorted, but I guess I'll have to tell you why we can chill out a bit later. I'll come back. It's fine. We'll chat later. It's cool. Hey boys.
Hi.
Liam.
Yes?
Where are you? What are you? What grade are you starting this year?
Grade R.
Eli, what?
Grade North. Liam, I'm
What class are you going to be in, Eli?
Dolphins.
The Dolphins. Hey boys, are you excited?
Yes.
Are you a little bit nervous?
What? I am.
Are you? What are you nervous about, Eli?
About not going to school.
Why are you nervous about going to school?
Because I don't want to be left alone.
Why? What do you want to do at home?
If people annoy me.
People annoy you? Who annoys you?
Some people from my class.
Just while waiting for the alarms to go off, we've made a trip to the Eitzig bike park in Constantia, and this is my wife looking on anxiously at our children, who are totally fine, and if they fall they'll be fine. But
go, Bucky, go.
It's hard not to be a bit worried when you see your boys scooting along on a bike.
My love, just be careful if you stop. Remember, Baba, if you stop, the other people behind you might crash into you. Oh, not into you. Go, my love, go, go, go.
We're able to give a lot of advice because we have zero experience riding bikes on trucks, but we're very full of advice. Other than kiddos falling off their bikes, what are you most anxious for this year? No, when it comes to our kids and school. Is it that we haven't planned well enough, that we've made bad decisions, that they are going to struggle, that they're not going to make friends, or that we can't afford it? What out of those?
All of the above.
All five?
Yeah.
All five, okay.
They're gonna be fine. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Okay, I think we're good. Before I tell you more about what I'm thinking about, why we can maybe try and calm down a bit at the beginning of the year, let me show you something. I've just planted these. Ooh. Here's the problem. I took these flowers from other parts of the front garden and I planted them here, and I'm not sure they're gonna survive. Please live, plants. Okay, cool. Now with the slowly dying plants in the background, what was I saying? Yes. Here's how I'm trying to stay a little bit calmer at the beginning of 2020 when it comes to being anxious for what the world is going to throw at my boys. They've had 5 and 6 years respectively dealing with a whole bunch of change. From the moment they were born, they've had change after change after change, sometimes just from themselves, sometimes with the world around them. Just, they've experienced a lot of change. And they've gone through all of these processes and all of these steps, and they've done really well. They both have. They've both coped, and they've both developed, and they've both risen to the challenges. And what we have to remember is that our kids are not always going to be the babies that they are right now. One of the problems that I struggled with was last year we would go to all these schools and we'd look at grade R's and what they were doing and how big they were, and I couldn't comprehend that my little boy was going to be able to do all those things. I couldn't see how he was going to get there, and yet here he is doing all of those things. So I think we have to remember that our kids actually have resilience built into them. They are made to be challenged. That's the point. They have to be challenged so that they can grow and develop. It doesn't mean that it's not scary though. Now, of course, that isn't to say that everything that you are anxious about or that you're concerned about is silly. Sometimes those concerns are legitimate, and that's where you have to use your own wisdom and your own decision-making skills to go, wait a second, I'm not being irrational here. This is a real concern. My child really cannot cope with this. This is not the right space for him or her to be in, and I as a parent have to make that choice. I'm not saying that you should just let your kids go forth into the world and give them a thumbs up and say, good luck kid, as they go on. I'm not saying that at all. And you also can't think through every eventuality. You can't work out the permutations of, well, if they go to this school with this class, they're going to have these kinds of friends, or this person's going to be there and they get along well with them, as well as the fact that this school has this particular teacher and this kind of sports thing. You can't work out all of the blocks. And if you try to, you're going to make yourself and your kids and probably your partner go a little bit crazy. It's not possible to do, because the fact is, you don't know all the variables. You don't know what your child's going to be like in a year's time or 2 years' time or 10 years' time, because life still has to happen to him or her. So what's the point of this whole video? I guess the point of this whole video is to say I'm really anxious about 2020. I'm anxious for my kids. I'm anxious for what they're going to go through. I'm anxious for myself as a dad and a parent. I want to make sure that I do right by them. I'm worried that they're going to struggle too hard with this year, even though they probably won't. I worry that there are going to be some big challenges for them, which they'll probably cope with, but still. So I guess the point is that if you feel like that too, it's okay. And it's made me feel a little bit better to express those feelings to you and to kind of get them out. And I'd love to know what you're feeling anxious about. What are you nervous for your kids for 2020? You can leave them in the comments below. If you don't want to do them publicly, you can share them with me personally. You can share them on Aphrodaddy CT. If you don't want to share it publicly, you can send it through. If you don't want to share it publicly, you can just DM me on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, or you can email aphrodaddyct@gmail.com if you want to as well. You can help me have a great year by subscribing to the website. Go to www.aphrodaddyonline.com and you'll see a little pop-up comes up to subscribe to that, and that way you can make sure that you get all of the cool Aphrodaddy stuff. There's going to be a lot of great podcasts coming up. I have a very cool first Ask Aphrodaddy episode coming up in the next 2 weeks. I want to make sure you don't miss that as well. And also, it's a really cool way for us to keep in touch. I send out a newsletter occasionally that's a little bit more personal than the normal stuff you see on the blog, so you kind of get into the inner circle by subscribing. Because you haven't subscribed, you're like over there. Still pretty close. But if you are a subscriber, you're like there, right? And if you live in my house, you're like... Sometimes my analogies don't make sense. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great year. We'll chat soon. Aphrodite out.
You're watching Aphrodite. Hey, that's my dad.